It's Brad, and today I'm going to be making pita bread. I'm going to be making hummus, and before I run out of time, I'm either going to be making dolmas or biryani or both of them. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm going to start right now. It's getting kind of late in the day. Okay, for homemade pita bread, it's really better if it gets to rise overnight. And so I'm going to make a double batch because we tend to eat a lot of it. When I make it, it doesn't really last that long. So I'll have some for tonight and the flavor will improve tomorrow. For this recipe, start with 2 cups of water. 2 tablespoons of sugar. This says 2 1/4 teaspoons yeast. I'm just going to do a tablespoon of yeast. The tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. Since it's a double batch, I actually need 2. So 2. Do a little, not quite 2 tablespoons. And not quite, I'm just gonna, oh, shoot. That came out fast. And about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Okay, and whisk. So the sugar feeds the yeast. Yeast continually divides, I think, I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head how long a cycle is for the yeast. It could be like, I don't know if it's somewhere between 5 and 45 minutes. I would have to look it up, but yeast divide pretty fast. Okay, so the yeast takes about 5 minutes to bloom, and that's just waking up from its inactive state. So it starts as it blooms, it's hydrating, it's waking up from dormancy, it's eating sugar, producing carbon dioxide, which is what is going to cause the bread to rise. 5 minutes. While my yeast rises, so the recipe calls for, it's 4 parts whole, or 4 parts all-purpose flour. I have wheat Montana here. It's supposed to be a superior quality flour. It's pretty good. I'm not sure how much better it is, but I guess I should say it's worth it. And then 1 part whole wheat flour. I'm using King Arthur, and I feel the same way. It's supposed to be better. I don't bake a lot. It tastes good to me. So in the past, I have used old wheat, maybe, that I thought had gone, it's possible it had just a little too old, it had gone rancid, or maybe I just don't like whole wheat, the flavor of whole wheat. So since I doubled the batch, I'm actually going to use 1 part bread flour to replace 1 part of the whole wheat. So it would be 8 parts all-purpose flour, 1 part whole wheat, 1 part bread flour is what I'm going with today. I got it all I got it in here. I didn't sift it, but I did whisk it together. I think that sifting is kind of a real pain, and I'm not sure that you really need to do it, but especially it's important for baking. I think for baking powder, because it's important that is distributed, and you can't as easily add that to the water because it starts reacting right away. But with just salt and sugar and anything you can add and dissolve in the water, I think it's fine. Just try to give it a little bit mixed up. All right, my yeast is bloomed. It's kind of hard to see, but it's frothy on top. Has the beginnings of the bread smell. There's no real special way to do this. I'm just gonna add part of the flour, maybe about half. Got a fork. I'm just gonna move the flour around in the water as it starts to clump together. Add the rest. Kind of shaggy. It's okay. I'm sure it'll come together as soon as I start using my hands. Oh, was I supposed to add oil at some point now? Oh, shoot. Yeah, so I should have added how much oil? 2 tablespoons. That's... Not ideal, but that's probably okay. I could probably add it right now. I'm using California olive ranch oil. It used to be really good. I don't think it's as good as it used to be, but it used to be really good olive oil. Have like even just the plain stuff had like a very particular flavor. I really liked it. I don't think it's the same. All right, the oils could be distributed better, but hopefully I'll take care of that kneading. Kind of stiff because of the wheat flour and the bread flour. Quite a bit of gluten. But, well, I'm going to get some time to rise and settle. It should be pretty gentle by tomorrow morning. Good, as people who do this say, it's a good workout. Using all this part of your arm. Especially with this stiffer dough. You know how to knead, you take one end, kind of fold it over, roll it over, and then with the heel of your of your hand, press down and kind of like continue the rolling thing, the rolling movement. And you quarter turn, repeat. You just keep doing that. According to the recipe, 10 minutes or until it becomes smooth and very elastic. And it's getting there. What it does is, what the science is, that the gluten molecules stretch, and you're stretching them in basically in two directions or whatever. You're stretching them, forming like a net, probably. And that net is going to give the dough strength and also trap the gases inside, giving it the air bubbles. Trap the carbon dioxide inside while the yeast munches on first the sugar you added, then the starches. That's looking good, feeling good. Pretty pliant, like Play-Doh. It's not wet. Not particularly wet, not very sticky. That's good. That's usually a sign that you got the proportions right. Well, every bread's different. I shouldn't say that. But you can play with it in your hands. It's not all sticky. That's good. I'm gonna clean this bowl out. I'm gonna put some oil in it, just a little bit, to keep it from sticking, and I'm gonna have it rise in this once, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it rise until I am ready to use it. And then I'm going to push it and have it rise again when I'm ready. When I take it out, let it come up to room temperature, and then roll it flat. It doesn't have to, because pita is probably considered a strange Middle Eastern bread, because it uses yeast, and most Middle Eastern breads aren't leavened, I think, but pita is. Pita is one of the weird ones. Anyway, Middle Eastern and Indian. So that's the plan, and yeah, I'll be cooking the pitas on the stove, because I don't have, on the stove on a cast iron griddle. It's about as good as it gets here, and they're really good, and they're perfect with hummus. Well, dinner's almost ready. I decided to reward myself with a hard cider, because I've been in the kitchen for 3 hours now. My pita dough is risen. I took a nice chunk of it, and I'm gonna make pita bread with it now for dinner, go along with the hummus. But the rest will stay in the fridge, and I'll make pita bread tomorrow or the next day at my leisure before it goes bad, and it'll be a little bit better for waiting. But today, I'm in a hurry. I'm not going to wait any longer. So I divide it up Since I didn't weigh anything, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going by touch. This is good. It's not sticky. Don't want to roll it too thin. I do want to roll it thinner than I don't know quite how to phrase this. You can roll pitas so that they'll pocket, an air bubble will form and they'll form a pocket, and that's not bad necessarily. In fact, that's usually a good sign. But and you can serve them that way. I'm going to try to roll this just thinner than that, because even if it does, you can, even with tortillas, they'll puff up a little bit. But I'm rolling it too thin to be used as a pita pocket sort of sandwich. I want it just thick enough that when I slice it, it will hold the hummus. That's my goal. If you want it as a pocket, you can leave it a little thicker. I don't know, it's like maybe twice the thickness of my fingernail. I got the iron, what is it, the iron skillet heating up, iron griddle. The other thing about pita bread, about making pita bread, is to cook it hot and fast. I want that flat iron hot. They do it. You see it on TV or on YouTube or something. They got the chimney, the clay chimneys or something similar with the wood fire. And they can just like slap them on, and then they're done in like 30 seconds or so, something like that. I would like to have one of those because they seem really nice, but I don't. I've tried that clay oven thing that we got last year. I haven't messed with it much, but I have trouble keeping enough heat in there to do much of anything. It's just a little too small to be. I need to practice with it though. I could probably make it work. I just haven't really used it very much. All right, this one might be sacrificial. We'll see how it works. If it's not hot enough, it will cook too slow and kind of dry out, and it won't. It's not ideal. It needs to be. But I'm impatient, and I got lots of extra dough. Find out if it's good enough. Getting some holes on it, that's good. There's some bumps. Means that it's hot enough to start cooking. Hot enough to do that anyway. but not brown. See, you want it to be so hot that as the lumps, as the bubbles form, it's also browning. And so it's not hot enough yet. That's okay. It'll just come out a little bit drier, a little bit tougher. You give it to the chickens. Looks like this last one's kind of small. I should use this one as the sacrificial. Pita. Not too bad. More work than a lot of people want to put in, but it really, you can taste the, you would say the love, but just tastes better fresh. Got kind of a lot of extra flour on it, that's okay. So, here it is. It's not quite finished without a brush, quick brush of olive oil, light. And sprinkle of salt. Everyone loves fresh bread. Tastes good. Not too much wheat. Maybe I did the right thing. Okay, now for the hummus. I've got 4 cloves of garlic, 4 big cloves of garlic. I'm going to take these and I'm going to blend them up in the food processor until they're fine. To that, I'm going to add 2 pints of garbanzo beans. Which I've rinsed off. They were home canned. I don't know how much is that, like a pound? Is that a pound? 2 pints. After that, I'm going to drizzle, I'm going to put in 2-ish tablespoons of tahini, which is ground sesame. I'm going to squeeze the rest of this lemon, and I'm going to add olive oil until it is a smooth consistency. And I'll also use a little bit of kosher salt. Yeah, I guess I can leave it on. The oil is kind of separated out of this, so it's important to mix it up. Some recipes don't use tahini, but I think it doesn't taste even remotely correct if it's not in there. Really important for the flavor. See, this is already pretty smooth. My home canned garbanzo beans really cream up better than some of the other ones. It's pretty smooth. It needs the olive oil. It doesn't have it yet. Actually, that's a good amount of salt and garlic and lemon juice in it though. Wow, that is super smooth. And it's a little thin too, because when you blend it up like this, the blades will aerate the paste, and so it's a little thin. When you put it in the fridge, it'll settle, some of the air will settle out and it'll be back to a better consistency. But I think that's pretty good. Yeah. To serve, you can sprinkle some paprika on top, and that's it. There's nothing to this stuff, but you gotta have the right ingredients. You gotta have tahini, you gotta have garlic, have a good quality olive oil, and garbanzo beans. You got all that, you can make hummus no problem. Okay, so one of the things that makes biryani really special is the spices. The main thing. There's two things that make biryani special. It's a one pot meal. You marinate big chunks in the pot, and then you end up cooking the rice in it and use the spice blend. Today I'm going to be making it with ground lamb, and a combination of ground lamb and ground beef, so I'm not going to be quite making traditional biryani, but I can get the spices right. And to do that, it's a big list. And it starts with a 1/4 cup of coriander, which is a lot. I'd say that's the main spice. Coriander is also used a lot in sausages. You wouldn't believe it. You might not know, but coriander is probably the main spice in hot dogs, believe it or not. So I'm going to heat the coriander up on the stove until it's fragrant, and then I'm going to put it aside. I'm not going to record this. Next, I need some cinnamon. That's a lot of cinnamon. 5 to 6 pieces of cinnamon. Actually, I'm just going to use 5. Using all my whole cinnamon sticks. I'm not. Who needs it? Okay. Three pods of star anise, which I have here. I get these at Chinese grocery store or the Arab grocery store, depending on where I'm at. That's like 3.5. A tablespoon of cloves. Cloves have all these spices have very particular flavor, and this is all. It all comes together in a way most people unfamiliar might think that they smell kind of like Christmas or like pumpkin pie spice. Because that's probably the only time that most people ever smell these. That most, I guess, Americans smell these spices. Let's see, I need 2 tablespoons of caraway, which is here. Actually, we'll start with the shajir. Is there not any in this, really? Huh, okay. Caraway is kind of like, I think of it as European cumin or European jeera. They have similar flavors, but there's like an earthy smokiness that is lacking in caraway, and instead it's replaced. Some people call it citrusy. I wouldn't quite call it citrusy, but I can kind of see where it is that they get that. It's missing a certain quality. It's almost like cumin light. Like, anyway, it goes in rye bread. It goes in this. It's good spice. It goes in Montreal seasoning, I think, and it can be substitute. You can substitute dill seed with caraway seed. They have very close flavors. Not exact, but they're very close. Actually, dill might even be an improvement, but this recipe calls for caraway. So, a mace. Where is my mace? Right here. Mace is the. So where's my nutmeg? Mace is the is like a part of the nutmeg that wraps around the nut. So you got the nutmeg, and then the mace kind of goes around it, and they have. I'm trying to get it. It's. I've seen pictures, and this mace is actually really vibrant, and it almost looks alien when it surrounds the nutmeg. So it has a very similar flavor to nutmeg, but not quite. It also goes in, frequently found in sausages. Especially breakfast sausage and what is it? Bratwurst. Plain German bratwurst would not be the same without mace. So I need cardamom. This says black cardamom. I don't think I have black cardamom. But I have green cardamom. I think it calls for both. Yes, it does. Cardamom also has an interesting flavor, and it has an interesting effect on your mouth. It's not kind of numbing. I don't really know how to describe it, but it goes in a lot of Middle Eastern dishes. Let's see, so I need 15 green cardamom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 15 green cardamoms. Teaspoon of black pepper. That's done. Whoa. Very fragrant, not quite burnt. I guess I said I wasn't going to put that on camera, but here I am doing it while messing with this other stuff. So this needs to get off the pan. The pan is still hot. And now I'm going to take my other spices, because this is how the recipe has it. and put them in the pan and then roast them. Also said I need half a nutmeg. Keep this on low. Whoa, 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 that is hot. The caraway immediately started crackling. That's probably why these steps are separated. I don't even need these on the heat. This pan's plenty hot. I'm going to take these off because the caraway is so small it's actually close to burning. Ooh, powerful, powerful scent. Stories, Carl bay leaf. I need a bay leaf, which I have. Go put this in the it's on the stove. And fennel. How much fennel? 1.5 tablespoons of fennel. Fennel and anise share a licorice flavor. I think I prefer anise, but fennel's not bad either. And this recipe calls for both. Half a teaspoon. Yeah. I'm going to grind up the rest of this nutmeg. fennel. Okay. So I'm going to put all the spices in my spice grinder, which is actually also a coffee grinder. It's important that it gets cleaned between coffee and spices. I'm going to have to grind this up to get the cinnamon sticks down before adding the rest. Since I'm not sure if this is black or green cardamom, I kind of think it might be black, but I guess I'm not sure. I'm going to add just a little bit. This is 2 or 3 black cardamom, so I'm going to go with like half a teaspoon. This is already ground. I know that there's supposed to be a difference. I don't use these spices a lot. I'm not 100% sure on how different that is. But cardamom isn't too strong, and there's not a lot in here, so I'm not too worried about it. It's not going to break the recipe. And that's the smell of biryani, for sure. It's hard to describe. It has a distinctive flavor. The coriander, the anise, a little bit of the black pepper and the mace come out. Has a nice roasted flavor. It smells really good. That's a lot too. This is almost a cup of spices. So, as I'm looking at the recipe, I looked up this recipe around November of last year after looking through a bunch of different recipes, and I picked this one, mutton biryani. It's from IndianHealthyRecipes.com, Swasti's recipe. And I remember thinking that there's several different steps here where I would use different whole spices at different points. So here's a group for the gravy, here's a group for the rice, here's a group for the marination. And what I did was, I think I substituted the biryani spice at every step. Which maybe is not quite right, but I think that's what I did, and I think I'm going to do that this way again. Except for the shah jeera, which I will put in the places where it says, but otherwise it's got cloves, bay leaf, cardamom, cinnamon. The amounts could change. It could come out a little different, but I think I'm just going to substitute roughly an amount. I did leave some cinnamon in, I remember, and I left whole pieces in, and it got confused with the dish, and it wasn't pleasant to pick out when I went to eat it. I don't fully remember, but I think that's what I'm going to do this time. I was just letting you know. And I thought, yeah, maybe I should since biryani is I think biryani is one of those things that it's like a home recipe, so many people have many variations on it. I should mention that I'm using this guy's. All right, to cook the rice, I'm going to use, it says 2 cups of basmati. I think that my long grain rice is basmati, which is how I have it labeled here. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure it is. This is not going to work well. I'm going to use a cup and a half of basmati, and I'm going to use half a cup of jasmine. That's what I'm going to do. So I think jasmine is a shorter grain rice, not quite as sturdy, but has a superior scent and flavor. I'm told this is what they do to make, they can blend rices to make, you might think it's unnecessary, but it'll improve the overall dish, what I'm told. This says soak it. I'm just going to put my rinse basket, and I'm going to rinse it. 8 cups of water, 1 bay leaf, 1/4 teaspoon of shah jeera, 3 cloves, 1 cinnamon, 3 green cardamom. So I think I'm just going to put like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of shah jeera, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of biryani spice, and then I'm going to put a bay leaf in, and 8 cups of water. That's how I'm going to do this. So it's not quite, but it's pretty close. All right, as I said earlier, I'm going to be making this biryani with a mixture of 50% ground lamb, 50% ground beef. Because of that, I'm not going to be able to marinate it for as long, or even really at all. I'm thinking about half an hour. So here is the meat. I'm still going to use the ingredients that go in the marinade though. This is, how much is this? Half a cup of Greek yogurt. It says half a cup of curd or yogurt or dahi, not a sour one. I have Greek yogurt. I used this same Greek yogurt last time I made this. teaspoon red chili powder. Teaspoon biryani masala. Quarter teaspoon turmeric. This is turmeric from the garden. Tablespoon of oil. Half a teaspoon of salt. It has optional raw papaya paste. I don't have that. But I imagine that would be good for tenderizing the meat if you got big chunks, and I don't need that because my meat's ground up. So then I need a tablespoon and a half of lemon juice. Let's see how much I can get out of this. I think that'll be about all the lemon juice I need, which is about a third of a lemon. These lemons are particularly juicy. They're pretty good. They're from Argentina. They have a nice smell to them. Our lemons are not ready yet. They're not our valley lemons though, which are supposed to be the best in America. That's just something people say, maybe, but no, I think our lemons are actually a little better of the places that grow lemons in America. Need a tablespoon of ground ginger it says ginger garlic paste. I'm just going to use the microplane on this ginger, and right into the mixture it goes. It'll be paste enough for me. I could grind it up with the mortar and pestle. I only have a big one. It's too big to get out for this small amount. It's also really rough. It's from Mexican. I forget what the word is. I just looked it up too. Mollete and something. Just the mollete. I left the skin on. I don't think that makes a big difference. Some people say that there's a lot that the spiciness of ginger is contained in the skin, and so I typically leave the skin on. Now a lot of people like it off, but when you ground it up fine, it doesn't really. I don't think it makes a big difference. All right. I would prefer to leave it in just for that reason. On the offhand, that it does make give it a spicier flavor. It might also give it an earthier flavor. It's a small amount, big dish. Now the garlic. a trick when you do this is to crush the garlic, but to not crush it too hard. Then you can microplant it. If you crush it too hard, it's crushed too hard to microplant. I'm losing this piece, which is fine because I will just use my knife on what's left. Okay, I can do that. So this is my marinade. I'm going to mix it up with the ground meat. I'm tempted to use my hands, but I guess today I'm going to not. This is what you, not unlike sausage making at this point, mixing a bunch of spices with ground meat. Not very pretty. It doesn't smell bad. There it is. Kind of, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of like a pink, kind of looks like a, like a, I don't want to talk about it. Like Pepto-Bismol, like if you threw up after eating a bunch of Pepto-Bismol. It's not that pretty, but that's okay. It smells good, it'll taste good. Try to not let this sit more than half an hour, I think. You don't really want anything with lots of vinegar, especially ground up. They should be probably cooking it right now. Maybe in 5 to 10 minutes. Just, I think I'm just gonna put it on the stove and fry it like loose meat. So another part of the recipe is fried onions. And I'm using about probably twice as many as the recipe calls for because I remember making it and I thought it needs more onion. And I like onions. So I'm going to fry the onion till it's sort of brown and dark, about to get crispy, and some oil on the pan, on the stove. I'm not gonna, that's how I'm gonna do it. So one more deviation I'm going to make from your traditional biryani masala. I'm going to put it in green bell peppers. I'm going to stuff the green bell peppers after making it. What I did was I cut the tops off. I'm going to boil or blanch these in hot water, and at the tops I save these. I put them in the freezer and I save these for pizza ingredients, because it's just one or two tops is just the right amount for bell pepper on a pizza. So that's what I do. You can see here I put a small amount of oil in the pan, and I just threw all the onions in. I'm pretty sure this is how she does it, or I think, is it a he or she? I forget. And you fry the onions until they're this dark brown caramelization, but they fry down to almost nothing, and you're left with oily fried onions, and then that goes into the dish. So I'm just showing you. Looks like this. They gotta keep going. They gotta keep cooking down until they're all caramelized. And while that is going on, you wanna turn them and flip them and make sure that the onions on the bottom don't burn. So keep your eyes open. One other addition, because I think I was reading some cookbook. I think it's gonna come out nice. I sliced up some prunes. I'm gonna throw those in with the onions, and it's gonna mix it with the biryani and give it a subtle background sweetness in with the onions, which are extra caramelized. There are my onions and prunes. All right, now I'm going to fry the meat. Need some green chilies. I have these are, oh, what are they called? They're not jalapenos, they're spicier, they're serrano peppers. Because they're spicier, I'm going to take the seeds out. I'm going to chop them up. The seeds and the ribs, it's where the heat is. Okay. There's the green chili. It's going in with the meat. Next I need, what do I need? Half of the onions, right? Also go in. So the meat is fried. I added a pinch of this amount of largest pinch of mint and cilantro, as well as another half cup of yogurt and a heaping teaspoon of biryani spice to it. And it's well fried. And then I have my rice that's finished. It's actually, for this recipe, I probably used a little bit too much water. As I was checking over the ingredients again, you kind of want it to be dry, and I do remember it was a little on the dry side. But at this point, you take your fluff, this is one of the reasons why you want it to be dry, because you don't want this to be gummy at all at this stage, and it kind of, mine kind of is, and that's not ideal for what I'm about to do here. So I'm going to try to fluff it up a little bit, but this is why you really want it undercooked. So then, if this was going in the single pot version, like I said, I'm doing several things differently. You have the meat on the bottom, you layer the rice on top, and then in slow circles, you pour, this is ghee. And then this is saffron, saffron milk. It's got a nice yellow color, and it's going to change the color. These are both going to change the color of the rice a little bit. I did this better last time. Now, put my meat biryani mixture in. Ended up giving it a sort of nice, like, even though the rice was all cooked the same and pretty much flavored the same, it made it look like the rice was 3 different colors. You had like a yellow, a dark brown, and then the plain color rice. And it was really, really interesting looking dish because of that. And the rest of the onions, And so I haven't par blanched my peppers yet, but I'm going to carefully mix this up without, hopefully without turning the rice into mush, and then stuff the peppers. And I'll let you know how it comes out. Okay, my peppers are blanched and they're still really hot. And I managed to stir up the rest of my herbs and the onions and the rice without getting it too gummy. This is a really tasty dish, but it's mostly rice. That's why even now I'm thinking I should have put more onions in. I'm glad that I have the peppers here to give something more to this dish. And I think that the prunes are a good idea, and with the onions, and I'm going to find out. I was a little worried because these serrano peppers can be kind of hot, and it was hotter than I wanted it. I don't remember this dish being particularly hot, and I eat spicy food frequently. And it's not supposed to be that spicy, I don't think. I had this with my friends at a hole-in-the-wall spot in College Station. It was really, it was pretty good. That was the only time I've had biryani I didn't make. I mean, I've only made this one other time, so now by no means an expert, but this is the total blend of spices is familiar enough taste that I know that and I trust the person who wrote this recipe knew what they were doing. I think another thing that might improve this dish would be like some pine nuts. Give it some more texture. Obviously, this wasn't not really meant for ground meat. It's meant to be served with chunks, but this is the way I'm doing it today. And like I said, it's a lot of rice. Really need something else to go with this. 2 cups of rice and about a pound of meat. 2 cups of uncooked rice and a pound of meat. That's we have a different rate, and almost no vegetables outside of the onions. So it's not we have a different ideal ratio. I think you're supposed to serve this with side dishes. Anyway, so the final thing, and she or he, I didn't rewatch the video, makes a big deal about this. They actually make a dough to seal the outside of a casserole dish so that the scent of the spices completely penetrates the dish. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use tin foil on this thing. And then I've got the oven cranked up to 350. Everything's already cooked, but I'm going to let it. The peppers could cook just a little longer. I'm going to let the spices penetrate and the flavors marinate or marry together in the oven for another half hour. All right, the stuffed pepper biryani has been in the oven for about 45 minutes. I'm going to take it out. Smells good so far. Looks about the same. It could look a little bit more impressive. It smells pretty good though. It's dinner.